Alright, so anyway, I want to do my little Thursday Q&A thing. Um, I didn't have that many people that asked me questions this week. I'm not tending to have a whole lot of people ask me questions since I moved over here to this Tom Ray channel, which is all good. The people that were asking me questions all the time on Wonky Ninja are still asking me questions over here. So, that's cool. I appreciate Mercy's Little Show and Derek Lucarelli and Stacy Poole asking me questions over there and coming over here and asking me questions over here because I like seeing what people answer to my questions and I like the questions that I'm asked. They give me something to think about during the week. So, uh, my question last week was of all the movies that are being made into comics with Edward Scissorhands and Escape from New York and Shaft and all this different stuff that seems to be being made into comics. Um, what would you like to see made into a comic? For me, I think it would be Beetlejuice. I really, really love that freaking movie. And but Mercy's Little Show said Labyrinth, and there is a Labyrinth trade that came out not long ago that you might look into on Midtown or in stock trades or something that was pretty sweet. And they're also talking about in March or April that they're going to do a prequel to Labyrinth comic that's going to explain how the Goblin King became the Goblin King. And so that might be something you might want to look into. I can't remember who the writer was on it, but it had a good writer on it. Um, and Derek Lucarelli said Nightmare on Elm Street. And yeah, that sounds like that would be pretty freaking sweet. I would like a Nightmare on Elm Street. I would also not mind a Friday the 13th. I think Friday the 13th would probably be pretty sweet. Um, or a Thing comic that took place like maybe in another setting, I think would be pretty sweet because I love that John Carpenter's Thing movie. Um, and Stacy Poole said Die Hard, and that seems pretty sweet. Seems to me you got like 7 movies, so you know that seems like that'd be enough. But if you love something, you love it. Um, there was a movie in the '80s that was called Remo Williams: The Adventure Begins, and I loved that movie whenever I was a kid, and I always wanted it made into a comic, and it never got made into a comic. I always kind of wanted Action Jackson to get made into a comic. I still got hope for Action Jackson, man. Carl Weathers, if you're out there, yeah, make that happen. Um, my question for this week is, what was the best thing, TV or movie wise, um, from 2014? What did you like best in 2014 from like TVs and movie? For me, I think it was probably Guardians of the Galaxy because that freaking movie was phenomenal. Everything about it. The soundtrack was awesome on it. Um, you know, Chris Pratt was freaking awesome in it. Batista proved he could act. Uh, Zoe Saldana proved that you could paint her blue and she's still gonna be good looking. Uh, freaking Ben Diesel was great as Groot, and Bradley Cooper was awesome as Rocket. And I just love that. My question, like I say, is what was the best either TV or movie thing that you think's happened in 2014? Um, my questions were Marcy's Little Show asked me what vi- that what video game would I like to have turned into a comic. Um, I would kind of like to see another attempt at a Mass Effect comic because I really, really liked that movie and I didn't think the comic was all that bad. Um, but probably Fallout 3. I would like to see a comic made in the Fallout 3 world um, because I love that freaking game. It's one of my favorite games I ever played, and I think it would really be a good comic. Apocalyptic comics are some of my favorite. Um, Derek Lucarelli asked, uh, "Have I read Crossed?" Yeah, I've read Crossed. I read like the first 2 trades on the original Cross because I really, really like Warren Ellis, and I wasn't a fan. Um, it was okay, but it was a little too much overkill and blood and gore and crazy, I don't know, crazy, weird, sexy stuff that I didn't really care for it. But now the new Cross Plus 100 by Alan Moore, I do kind of like because I think it's a weird take on zombie apocalypse because it takes place 100 years after the apocalypse. So everybody, all the main characters in the book, have never experienced what life was like before zombies. You know, you can be 80 years old and never have experienced what it was like without zombies running around trying to kill you. And I think that that's um, a pretty good concept. I like anything, man, that is like generations down the line, like an evolution of stuff. That people are just so far removed. I think that's cool. And Stacy Poole asked me, what comic character can I not stand? And I can't stand the Flash. I've never really got the Flash. Um, Super speed is just, I really don't like that power. I kind of like the fact that he can vibrate through walls. That's pretty cool. But Flash is always corny to me. How it is that he can just like zoom around and like see everything in like a half a second or whatever and be like right back. That is kind of crazy. Uh, but I'm not a big superhero fan. I'm more into supervillains. I really like supervillains. And supervillains that I can't stand, Mr. Freeze. Can't stand Mr. Freeze. I really can't stand Captain Cold either, but they're kind of interchangeable because both of them got freeze guns. And I think that freeze guns are just kind of silly. Um, I like people like Killer Frost or somebody like that that can, just and freeze you. It's freaking awesome. But again, I thank everybody that asked me a question, and like I said, I really liked your answers last week. Looking forward to maybe seeing what you have next week. I'm probably not going to do a question and answer next week. I'll probably just uh, come back. Come back. Maybe I might do one on the weekend after Christmas, but since Christmas is next Thursday, I won't do one next week. But you can go ahead and leave questions, or go ahead and leave your answers and leave me questions, and I will get back to doing one at some point next week.